Hey guys, we're back! Thursday! Yeah, getting a little late jump here on the video, but there's the reason why. I did a bunch of things. Did my typical walk-in, but we also did a little bit of work in the garage. We spent, 3 hours? Something like that. And we're just listening to YouTube videos and things like that. I didn't go super rushed. I'm like, all right, let's, do some things, kind of just do it as my own little pace. I'm a little tired from all that, actually. So, but it's a good kind of tired. We still got some more stuff to do, but for the most part, what we needed to do out there is good for the short term. So, how are you guys doing for Thursday? It is almost 4th of July. And we got news for you guys. Obviously, top of the ticket. We'll just get right into it. So finally, what's been called the big beautiful bill has finally passed both houses. There was a little bit, come on, like we know there's grandstand, but anyway, I think for the most part, and again, I'm always like trying to get, you want the best of everything, and you just. Maybe you're a perfectionist, and I sometimes have that, but I think we need to celebrate a little bit. I know maybe some of you may disagree upon that, but this had to go through. It was definitely not perfect by any means. The government always spends more than they have, but we need this, and let's hope that we can address some of the bigger spending stuff shortly, meaning maybe this year? I don't know. That might be a little out of it. But anyway, one of the biggest things is the tax cuts that we'll call for middle class back in 2017 is, I guess, what I heard was that it's kind of permanent, and I'm not really sure how that can be, but anyway, they'll be here for a significant period of time, at least 10 years plus, probably, right? They were set to expire next year. So that's good news, but there's also additional things that got added on there. They don't really affect me, but maybe they affect you, right? So we did deliver on 2 major promises: no tax on tips. I don't know if that helps you guys out or not. I know in some industries that's a huge and so, especially if you're living off tips, especially nowadays with inflation and whatever they call tipflation. But no, and I'm telling you, I hope more people in manufacturing, can acknowledge this, but no tax on overtime. That's shit, right? Unfortunately, I'm salary, so guess what? I have been paid overtime before, but it was like, I was busting. I don't ever want to do that again. And, I couldn't get all my hours, and it was anyway, I don't want to get into that. So that was some of the biggest stuff that happened. So tomorrow, most likely, Trump will sign his name on it, and it'll be official. So that... and also the one thing that I forgot to add actually was that don't worry about your Medicaid or Medicare or Medicaid. Like people were saying, like they would lose some things. Obviously, we'll see some of the fallout, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as what everyone thinks. The other thing, and again, doesn't affect me, but maybe my family members, all the naysayers. So you seniors that are using Social Security. I don't want to say you're spending my money already, but that's how it works. But apparently, you won't be paying nearly any income taxes on your Social Security. So I hope that helps you out. Whatever, fixed income and this and that. But yeah, it never made sense to me either. I mean, I wasn't necessarily against it. I wasn't necessarily for it. But it's one of those things that doesn't make any sense. I mean, Social Security, you're already taxed into it, and you got like, don't get me started. Like, why are we paying taxes on anything? I think there's ways to fund the government in different ways. However, it's spending money, and we don't even know where half of it goes, right? So that's the biggest news for today. And I think this actually happened maybe either yesterday or maybe before that, maybe July 1st. I'm not 100% sure. And it was on my radar for a long time. And it was one of those, well, all right, is it ever going to happen? So one of the things that, again, maybe this is more tangential America First news. But I'm going to cover it here because I think it's big and hopefully more things can come from that. Oh, a hiccup there. Hopefully it keeps going. Yeah, guys, I got done with a shower, so I look disheveled. I look kind of shabby. I got my, yeah, no, look at this thing. Sorry, guys. But it's called Bassal 3 compliance. And yeah, it's all banking jargon. It kind of goes into like what is an asset or reserve asset on their book. So for the longest time, like especially central banks, they never really held a lot of gold. They have, I'd say like the last 10 years, they've been purchasing gold, and no one's. And I knew about this, but people don't want to listen to me, right? They think I'm crazy, and they call me all sorts of nasty things here on YouTube. But if you want to spend some time, look it up. But the central banks of the world, and certain ones in particular, China, Russia, India, it's almost like anyone that's not in the West has been, but I'd say lately there's been some gold moving here. Anyway, what it means is that gold is finally being recognized as a reserve asset. Yeah, no, crazy. So if that bank has gold, they can list it. I mean, I don't know why it ever was. I mean, gold, you could sell it, right? Like, so that's a thing. Why is this big news, right? It's another thing that the bank can actually have as a safety. Again, I think we've said it a few times in these previous videos, is that our system's all fiat. It's all fake. This could help that. And I'll put my tinfoil hat on a little bit because it's always stuck on my head. And it's possible. I don't know if it's probable, right? There's been talk for so many years that we may go back to some type of asset-backed currency. And yeah, it sounds crazy, right? But here's the thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be willingly. It'd be nice if it would be willingly. It'd be very hard to do it willingly. But I think it'll be closer to have to. The banks will have to. They don't want to by any means. But once all confidence is lost, they have to back it up by something. Now, whether or not the asset's actually there, but they'll have to do that, right? So when all trust fails, which, come on, is there any left is my point of contention. But anyway, so they could back the rest of the currency. Now, what's ironic is people say, well, there's not enough gold. No. You're sort of not looking at it correctly. I'm not going to say you're wrong. But what you're thinking is that the price of the current gold is actually a fair assessment, which it's not. Gold should, and I know you guys might think I'm crazy, but there's people talking about different numbers that are in excess of this. I think from all the things that I've seen, should be around 20,000 an ounce. And how do I come up with that number? You can look at a couple of different websites. Jim Rickers talks about it. I thought Shadow Stats back in the day talked about it. So the way that number can come up with is you take the outstanding money supply, which, do we have an accurate number of it? We used to have one, all right? So these numbers might actually be old. So if anything, the number might be higher than 20K, okay? But in theory, you would take all the money, right? However much money was created, whatever that number is, right? And then you divide by how much that bank, right? So let's just say US dollar, right? How much does this central bank have of gold? You divide that, right? And then you have to also come up with a percent coverage, right? You like long time ago, it used to be 100%, right? For every dollar bill, there used to be a silver coin, right? So you could, that's called 1-to-1, right? Well, it can't be 1-to-1. I mean, not that everyone would, but that's like going back to Bible times or something like that, right? So when there's a transition where you have to go back to some type of asset money or some type of backing, is traditionally you need about 40%. Let's call it 50%, right? So then you would take that number, right, and then you would divide it by half, right? So that's why the number is so high. And to be honest, that might be on the low side. And again, depending upon what the government, what the government does, what the trust factor is, all those can play into it. There was talk of like maybe trying to do crypto, and I don't know. Maybe in the future, but I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a distrust in the dollar, which is funny. Like, it's still the strongest asset, so it's kind of funny. The other countries are kind of screwed unless they do it first, which is always possible, but very improbable. But yeah, in theory, maybe you could do a crypto thing, but it's sort of kind of one and the same, right? Like, you're still using digits, and then how is it controlled? How we're gonna check, right? Because there's all that stuff. Now, there's what they say what crypto is, and I hope crypto is what they say the white papers are. Is anything foolproof? Nothing's ever foolproof. So I don't know why the hell they keep saying you can't do it when there's crypto scams. Like, people had Bitcoin and the government just somehow took it away. Like, how the hell was that possible? Right? So there's definitely a back door. It's just nobody has access except for the government. So sorry, that was kind of a Lin-winded thing, but I thought that was actually interesting. No one's really talking about that. Maybe some financial channels are talking about that. So I've been saying it ever since 2009. Like, keep buying gold and silver. I haven't bought a lot in the last couple of years. I mean, you guys saw my one platinum coin. And I normally used to buy like a minimum of 1 gold ounce eagle, like a bullion eagle every year. And I just have, it's just, especially if it's more than 20 grand. Like, 3 grand is going to be nothing. But you never know, right? Like, it might be, it might not be next year. It might not be who knows when it's going to be. So in the meantime, you might need this cash to do something. Yeah, so what was the other thing? I wanted, I hate when this happens to me. What was it? Shoot. Let me try to jog my memory a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I was about to look at and we can kind of look at it real quick here. And we can chat to it. I'm not going to give you all the numbers. I don't know if you guys really like that or not. That's just something I've been trying to add in there. But, yeah, the Wall Street market, we'll call it, is at all-time record again. It's all based on the new jobs report that just came out. So kind of the interesting thing is that the 10-year Treasury yield went up, which I say is odd. It just went up 5 basis points. I'm not sure why that would be justified. So maybe some traders just said, hey, let's load up on risk assets. I don't know. But yeah, gold actually lost. Yeah, I know, right? Silver did gain a little bit, but neither one really went up or down that much. So the DXY actually strengthened. That sort of makes sense based on the jobs report. And we can get into, is the job report real? Is it the I think the statistics have been screwed up for so long, but it's one of those, if you're consistently using the same gauge, even though right, let's say it says, oh, it's 10. Well, you don't know if it's really 10, but then you read it again and it says 12. Well, then you're probably saying, okay, directionally it's going this direction. We don't know if it's that's a 20% move. It could be not quite 20%, right? Because not everything's linear. But the jobs report, I guess they were looking to actually have a job loss, but it actually came in above market expectations. So typically, and if you guys don't know this either, when Wall Street has an expectation, and it's like, if it's like just a little, well, it depends on how much, right? If it goes down below they go, oh no, it's, they go and they sell all their shit, whether or not it's real or not, it doesn't matter, right? But this is the psychology, or I should say, what the AI, I don't know, whatever, the computers. There's these all logarithms, and they're not necessarily AI, but they look at certain metrics, and they have certain programs already embedded, like your Merrill Lynch's and whatnot. Like these computers are trading back and forth with one another. It's almost like a shell game, right? But that's just to show that if it goes above target, they're like, hey, everything's great. Buy. So that, it's just another data point. It's just another thing to consider. I mean, we only added 147, and I get, that doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, we'll take it. I mean, now, ironically, recently, Microsoft announced like 9,000 people got let go, which, I mean, the big companies are the ones that are probably going to have the job losses. I mean, obviously, you guys know my predicament here at General Motors. We're just going to work every day like it's our last day. We're 51 years old. We lose this job. We'll probably just have to retire or something. We'll worry about that bridge when we get to that bridge. We're not necessarily going to blow it up, but yeah, we'll worry about it when we get there. I've taken some precautions. That's why I'm stressed, but not like that stressed. So, but yeah, these government, like the Doge, whatever, and they got rid of people, right? Sorry guys, my nose it always happens after I get showering. My skin starts drying up and it's itchy. I don't know what the hell. It's been this way for decades, so I guess it's just one thing that you got to worry about your body, right? So where was I going? Oh yeah, the Doge cuts or whatever, right? Like those people, they still aren't being counted, so they're not necessarily in the unemployment numbers, which I think they went down to 4.1, which is that a real number? I don't think that's ever been a number that's been realistic. They've been changing how they measure all this crap, right? Like CPI, that's why they call it CPI. Like they changed the basket. So the number says that, right? But they change it. It's like, imagine you're using a ruler, right? And it's in inches, right? And then you use it's the same stick, but now it's in millimeters. It's kind of what's going on with like everything in life, but it's like a perfect storm of bullshit. You know that saying, like the crap hits the fan? Like, I don't think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like this tornado, and the crap that's on the ground is just going to be so similar, but not really. So, yeah, outside of that, guys, Raymond's probably at, oh my gosh, it's 7 o'clock. I got stuff to do. Well, just games. I gotta get on. Oh, that's right. Before I wanted to go, I have another channel, and you guys could check it out. Maybe you're not really a big, but one of the games that I play, well, I try to play, me and my one friend, we try to play our game. It's called Magic the Gathering. It's actually a trading card game. And I like to open up my packs and then I record it, right? And then I got this little green This little green dragon guy. His name is Cinder, so like the channel is named after him, right? Because he's a dragon, right? You get it? And dragons have treasure, right? So it's his treasure, but I just use it as like a little mascot. But yeah, check it out. I'll put the link to I don't know, is it to my channel or whatever, right? Check it out. If not, maybe you want America First and that's it. Don't worry about it. But I'll put it down here. I keep forgetting to put that down here to kind of promote the other channel. I think I have like 5 or 6 subscribers. And yeah, like I'll put video. I think I had like videos for like 2 weeks when a new set came out. And literally, I think it was like I had 10 videos and got like 12 views out of the 10. Like it was really bad, like statistically. So I'm gonna keep that channel. I'm just gonna record everything, and if I ever want to see it again, then it's on the internet, right? So that's kind of why that made that channel. But I don't know. It used to be a thing. People used to like to open the packs and stuff, and I used to make I would go over the cards and make like assessments, and then kind of my niche on the channel was to kind of highlight cards that aren't necessarily used all that often, or ways to play the game so that's not really expensive, because like I don't know, this last set that came out, I can't believe people, they don't have cars, right? They don't even have a reliable car, and they'll spend $5,000 on. And I'm just like, man, wait till the next set comes out, because then those cards will probably just whatever, right? We're in a crazy world, living in a crazy time. Sounds like a song. Is that a song? Hey, comment down below. Or is that that plastic song? I can't. Like in my memory banks and like my you guys notice it's part personality, right? Like for me, this is normal. Like this. Like, if you tell me to sit, I mean, obviously, you can't tell me to sit in the corner, because I'd be like, man, no. But if I had to, like, sit, like, Frank, we'll give you $1 million if you sit down and not move, not fidget. I'll be like, I'll try. Like, $1 million? Okay, maybe. But you got to do it for 8 hours. I'll be like, no, dude, I got to get up and go to the bathroom. Like, I'll just... But you guys know that, right? I'm just... Anyway, you guys, I don't need to explain that to you guys. That's why you keep coming back. So, all you returning people, thank you for coming back and entertaining myself. And I hope you get a little bit of entertainment watching some crazy-ass guy just babble. And hopefully maybe there's some data that you'll have for your consideration. And for anyone that's new, thanks for coming by, stopping by. If you're not already subscribed, consider... Is it hitting that bell? I don't remember. I remember that used to be a thing. But yeah, guys, we're just here to chat and just to share our ideas. It's okay if our ideas are pretty crazy, right? So let's go look for that stop button, and we found it. Oh no, I moved the mouse again, so I gotta do it again. See ya. Bye.